In the opening scene of the movie, we are introduced to a young couple, Matt and Kate, who just moved into an old, isolated house, hoping to start a new chapter in their lives. The structure looks worn out and neglected, and in desperate need of repair. Immediately after they arrive, Matt, who is an artist, spends his time unpacking and clearing out the place while Kate begins cleaning. As she cleans, Kate finds a dead bird lying on the kitchen floor in one of the rooms. So she takes it outside to bury it, but her attention is drawn to the sound of furniture crashing down from the windows upstairs. However, before she could turn back, the bird's body had mysteriously vanished. Meanwhile, while Matt is throwing out the old furniture, he stumbles on an old two-part key. And later on, when he strips off a torn wallpaper from the wall, he finds a large, metallic door hidden within the wall with a keyhole at the center. Curious to find out what is behind the door, Matt retrieves the strange key he had discarded earlier and fits it into the lock. When the door opens, he quickly calls for Kate to see, but as she approaches, the lights across the house begin to flicker. Feeling uneasy about this, Kate steps back as Matt decides to call an electrician to inspect the system. That evening, the couple settles by the fireplace with a bottle of wine, trying to enjoy their first night together in their new home. However, they soon hear strange noises echoing from one of the rooms, but Kate dismisses it and puts it off as nothing. The next morning, while Kate gets a call for a translation work she applied for, Matt's curiosity draws him back to the mysterious door. And as he steps inside, the lights flicker again and the air grows cold. Moments later, Kate startles him as she tells him that the electrician has arrived. When he enters the house, the man examines the outdated wiring and attributes the light flickering to the old circuits. But before leaving, he hesitates before remarking that it's surprising anyone would buy this house after what happened there. Puzzled by his words, Matt presses for details until the electrician reluctantly reveals that the previous owners were brutally murdered inside. Disturbed yet intrigued by the story, Matt searches online and finds archived newspaper articles about the story. He reads that the house had once been called the House of Blood, and that the murdered couple, the Schaefers, were found dead inside the house, while the killer, whose true name was never discovered, was only known as John Doe. That night, Matt sketches the face of John Doe from the old photos he finds, as his mind becomes consumed by the mystery. And to calm his thoughts, he decides to drink away his worries and restlessness as he sits inside the strange room. When he empties his last bottle, he mutters to himself about needing another drink. Suddenly, the lights go out, and when they return, a fresh, unopened bottle of alcohol sits on the floor before him. This immediately throws him into a panic. However, he manages to calm himself down and takes it as a gift from nowhere. The following morning, Kate wakes to find everywhere quiet, and as she searches the house, she finds Matt inside the hidden room. But this time, the space is filled with priceless paintings and artifacts that could not possibly belong there. Surprised at the sight, Kate asks Matt where they came from. That is when Matt tells her that whatever they ask for inside the room, they get. And to prove this, he tells Kate to ask for something she wants. Kate jokingly tests the mysterious room by wishing for $1,000. Moments later, Matt finds the exact amount in a corner of the room and hands it to her. However, when she still doubted, Matt urges her to wish for $1 million. And once again when she does, the fresh stack of cash appears before them, leaving Kate terrified. But Matt is captivated by the miracle, and he immediately convinces her that they should embrace what the room offers. So, they decide to explore their curiosity as they start to wish for any and everything. They begin asking for lavish things like fine wine, expensive clothes, diamonds, caviar, and endless piles of money. And in all this, their every wish is granted immediately. So, the couple start to indulge in their newfound luxury, forgetting their modest beginnings. But Kate eventually grows weary of the constant excess, and one day, while sitting alone in the room, she suddenly starts to feel lonely. Matt notices this, and days later, he takes her to a nursery he has decorated, as he tells her that they should try starting a family again. However, Kate refuses, as she is still haunted by the 2 previous miscarriages she had experienced. But when Matt leaves her alone to clear his head, Kate returns into the nursery, now filled with her own longing to have her own kids. Moments later, she decides to enter the mysterious room. When Matt returns, he is horrified to find Kate holding a newborn baby boy. She claims the room gave him to her, and this immediately infuriates Matt, as he starts demanding that they return the child before anything unnatural happens. However, when they enter the room and he hears the baby cry, he begins to hesitate. And now unable to bring himself to undo the wish, he hands the child back to Kate. That night, when the baby cries from hunger, Matt goes to the room to request a bottle of milk. But when he returns, he is shocked to see Kate breastfeeding the infant, a clear violation of logic and biology. Days pass, and Matt's unease continues to deepen. And while researching one day about the dark history of the house, he finds an old statement from John Doe, the man accused of murdering the previous owners. The line reads, "The room made me do it." Now determined to uncover the truth, Matt takes cash from the room and visits John Doe. who is said to be confined in a mental institution. Matt poses as a reporter when he enters the facility as he finally meets the frail, aging man. John quickly sees through his disguise and recognizes him as the new owner of the cursed house. So, he explains that the only way to escape the room's influence is to leave it behind as he proceeds to warn Matt to get out before it's too late. Now very much disturbed, Matt returns home. But on his way, he stops at a gas station. However, when he attempts to pay, he discovers that the cash he had taken from the room had disintegrated into ashes in his pockets. Alarmed, Matt rushes back to the house and immediately grabs a pile of the money and throws it outside. The moment it crosses the threshold, it all crumbles into dust. That is when the horrifying truth becomes clear to him that the room's creations cannot exist outside the house. Everything it gives is an illusion that is bound to the walls that contain it. In an attempt to confirm this, Matt experiments once more by using a Van Gogh painting he had wished for, as he placed half of it outside the house. Instantly, the exposed portion begins to decay and crumble into dust within seconds. The remaining half stays intact inside, fully confirming his suspicion that indeed, anything created by the room cannot exist outside. The moment it leaves, it ages rapidly and disintegrates. Later, while Kate is singing to their baby, she hears a sudden crashing noise from the mysterious room. When she rushes in to see what it was, she finds Matt tearing down the walls. He was obsessed with uncovering the source of the room's power, as he continued to hack through the drywall and flooring, until he exposed a network of vine-like structures running through the foundation. These same organic tendrils match those they had found entwined around the electrical wiring in the basement. In the meantime, Kate decides to take the baby outside for fresh air as she ignores Matt's frantic warnings. However, when she steps into the sunlight, reality dawns on her as she watches in terror as the infant's skin suddenly starts to wrinkle and his body rapidly ages. While screaming, Matt quickly helps them inside where the aging eventually stops, but not before the baby has transformed into a young boy within seconds. That night, Kate confronts Matt and demands answers. So, he explains his discovery to her that everything created by the room will age and decay once removed from the house. And that this includes the child. But despite the horrifying truth, Kate refuses to abandon the boy and she even names him Shane. She raises him like every normal child with love, teaching him to read and care for him as her own. However, he tells him he must never go outside, claiming it's because he is ill. But as time passes, Shane starts to grow restless and frustrated inside the house. He begins to long to see the world beyond the walls, and as he expresses this to Kate one day, his anger builds until he starts throwing objects and even locks Kate outside the room. Meanwhile, Matt continues to grow increasingly paranoid, and he purchases a gun for protection as he starts to practice in the woods each day. In all these, and despite Kate's attempts to distract him, Shane remains fixated on the outside world. And one afternoon, while Kate wasn't paying attention, Shane approaches the front door and reaches toward the sunlight. However, Kate manages to reach him just in time as she drags him back inside. Left terrified about losing the boy, Kate decides to lock all doors and boards up the windows just to keep Shane safe. Days later, Shane wanders around the house alone until he discovers the mysterious room. By the next morning, Kate and Matt wake to find that Shane has used the room's power to transform it into an outdoor landscape with a world of grass, trees, and light. Realizing the danger this can eventually pose to them, Matt quickly drags Shane inside the house, locks the door and hides the key, as he fears what Shane might wish for next. He even warns Kate that their son could conjure something far worse, like a dragon. Moments later, the phone rings and when Matt answers, it was John Doe. He tells Matt that there is a way for Shane to live outside the house without turning to dust. But it comes with a horrifying condition that the boy must kill the person who wished him into existence. That is when John reveals the horrifying truth that just like Shane, he too had once been wished into existence. And that when the family who created him discovered that anything born from the room could live freely outside only by killing the person who wished for them, something happened. The wife had murdered her husband and then forced John to end her life, setting him free to live outside the house. However, this had left him eternally haunted. While they talk, Matt was not aware that Kate had overheard the entire conversation and it left her totally overwhelmed with despair. So, she rushes out of the house and drives away, as she begins to struggle for hours with a dark thought about ending her life, so Shane could be free. However, when the moment comes, she cannot bring herself to do it. Meanwhile, back in the house, Matt is consumed by frustration, as he tells Shane the truth in anger, that he isn't real. In the end, the boy's sadness softens his rage, and he apologizes, and even reads him a bedtime story just to comfort him. And by the time Kate finally returns home, she finds them asleep together. But at dawn, the couple wakes to find the front door wide open and their fear deepens when they realize that Shane is missing. As they search the house, they eventually find him in one of the rooms, but he was no longer a child. He is now a teenager and has grown stronger and more aggressive. This coupled with the realization of the truth, he grabs Matt's gun and points it at them, filled with rage and confusion over what was happening. However, Kate manages to calm him, but then, Matt decides to seize the chance to attack, and he accidentally strikes Kate instead, knocking her unconscious. When she awakens, Matt is by her side as he tells her that the gun had accidentally fired and that Shane is dead. He tells her that he buried the body outside, and now totally heartbroken, Kate breaks down in tears as Matt carries her back inside the house. But moments later, the original Matt regains consciousness in another part of the house, injured and disoriented. He frantically searches for Kate, only to realize that Shane, who is now impersonating him, has trapped her inside the room in another world. Meanwhile inside, the false Matt shares breakfast with Kate in what appears to be their home, which has been recreated perfectly by the room. But small details begin to give him away. His mannerisms, his behavior, and the way he chews ice, something only Shane used to do. When Kate realizes the truth, she tries to escape, but Shane attacks and violently overpowers her, knocking her unconscious just as he takes advantage of her. When she eventually regains consciousness, Kate sees that there are now two Matt, with each of them claiming to be real. Confused and terrified, she hesitates until one of them makes a familiar gesture that helps her recognize the real one. So, she shoves the imposter down the stairs, and together, she and the real Matt attempt to flee, only to find that the house has been transformed into a looping labyrinth, trapping them in an endless maze created by Shane. Eventually, he finds them and he immediately stabs Matt in the stomach and goes to meet Kate. That is when Shane suddenly realizes that something's wrong. His victims were mere illusions that have been created by Matt as he sees the real Matt and Kate escaping outside the house, racing through the distorted space until they break free of the wish room. Shane follows, and when he meets up, he charges after them, with a knife in hand. Just then, Matt forces the front door open, and as Shane lunges forward, Matt grabs him and pulls both of them outside. Realizing too late where he is, Shane tries to retreat, but Kate locks the door from the inside, watching in horror as his body rapidly ages, crumbles, and turns to dust. And as the movie ends, we see that 1 month later, Kate and Matt have begun rebuilding their lives away from the cursed house. However, to Kate's horror, she discovers that she is pregnant, with an unsettling question lingering, whether the child she carries belongs to Matt or to Shane. And that is the recap of the movie, The Room. If you loved this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and also leave a comment for us. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.